When I couldn't have children, my husband secretly got his ex pregnant and moved her into our lake house. "You'll always be second best," he said as I stood in shock. I didn't argue. I just left a small safe on the bed with his original vows beside photos he thought he'd burned. When she opened it, her screams were heard across the lake because I was married to Darren for 12 years. We lived in Traverse City, Michigan. I was a high school English teacher. He was a contractor. Ran a small remodeling business. We were quiet people. Our life wasn't flashy. We liked weekend projects, lake drives, bonfires. But I wanted kids. Always had. The first 5 years were all about trying. I had every test. Blood work. Scans. Injections. The doctor said nothing was physically wrong, but still nothing happened. Month after month, negative tests. I cried a lot. Darren used to hold me and whisper, "We'll try again." He'd kiss the top of my head, leave little notes in my lunch. He seemed patient. Until he wasn't. I didn't see it at first. He started working late more often. He'd take weekend jobs in Grand Rapids. Claimed they paid better. Then his phone habits changed. He used to leave it on the counter. Then it was always in his pocket. Then face down. Then locked. When I asked questions, he'd act like I was paranoid. Said I was acting crazy from stress. Said maybe I needed a break. But I wasn't crazy. My gut knew. We owned a lake house 20 minutes outside town. It was mine, technically, passed down from my grandparents. We'd renovated it together during our second year of marriage. It became our escape. We spent every summer there. Built memories on that dock. Then I stopped being invited. Suddenly, Darren said he needed space to work, to think. He wanted solo time out there. At first, I gave him that. I thought maybe it was grief from us not having a baby. But one night, I couldn't sleep. Something told me to drive out there. I took the back roads. Parked quietly. Stayed in the car. Just watched. That's when I saw her. A woman, maybe mid-30s, was standing on the porch in a long shirt. She rubbed her belly. She looked very pregnant. She walked in like she lived there. I didn't know who she was. My heart felt like it stopped. I drove away. When Darren got home that night, I was waiting in the kitchen. I said, "Who is she?" He blinked like he didn't understand. I repeated it. He said, "Don't go snooping around things you don't understand." That's when I knew. Knew I wasn't crazy. Knew my marriage was over, but I wasn't done yet. I did some digging. Marisol was his ex-girlfriend from college. She moved back to Grand Rapids 2 years ago. Apparently, they reconnected. He told her we'd separated. He told me nothing. I found out they'd been seeing each other for at least a year. And she was pregnant, 6.5 months. He planned to raise the baby in our lake house. My lake house. When I asked why, he didn't lie. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "You'll always be second best." She gave me what you couldn't. That broke me, in a way I didn't know possible. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there. Numb. Then I went upstairs. I opened my closet and pulled out a small metal safe I kept hidden behind winter sweaters. Inside were things I knew he thought he destroyed. Our original vows. Handwritten. Signed by both of us. He burned his copy in the fire pit 2 years ago after a fight. I'd kept mine. I also had a photo one he thought was gone. It was him and me on the dock, holding a baby onesie. That was the week we thought I was pregnant. Turned out to be false, but it was the happiest I'd ever seen him. I packed all of it into the safe. I also added the ring box. He'd hidden his proposal ring to me in there. I kept it. Then I drove to the lake house. I didn't knock. Just let myself in. Marisol wasn't there. He wasn't either. I went straight to the bedroom. Laid the safe on the bed. Opened it. Left it all inside. Vows, photos, ring box. Then I printed off something else. Fake foreclosure documents, written by a friend who works in legal processing. Not real, but real enough to scare. I added those too. Then I left. Quietly. 2 nights later, I got a call from a blocked number. I didn't answer. Next day, I drove by the lake house. parked across the road. I saw her through the window. Marisol. She opened the safe. I saw her expression change. She pulled out the vows, the photos, the fake papers. Then she screamed. A long, guttural scream. Not fear. Not just betrayal. Something deeper. Something final. She dropped to her knees. Darren came running in. He looked through the safe. He looked at me standing at the road. We locked eyes. I didn't move. Marisol left him 2 days later. But I'm not finished. There's more to do. There are things he still doesn't know I know. Money things. Property things. And there's still the revenge he never saw coming. 3 days later, her car was gone from the lake house. I drove by and saw the front door wide open. Darren's truck was in the driveway, but hers wasn't. I parked up the road and walked quietly along the back path through the trees. The front yard was a mess. Cardboard boxes thrown across the grass, some busted open. I saw a broken picture frame on the steps. Inside, Darren sat on the couch, head in his hands. I didn't say a word, just stood in the doorway. He looked up. You did this, he said. I shrugged. You moved her into my house. Did you think there wouldn't be consequences? He didn't answer, just stared. Then he stood up and walked past me without another word. That's when I knew I still had power. A week after she left, I started getting texts from one of Darren's former clients. A woman named Tara. She was furious. Your husband never finished our basement, she wrote. I want my money back. I replied, ex-husband. Apparently, Darren had taken deposits on 4 different jobs and ghosted every one of them. He'd spent the money on furnishing the lake house for Marisol and prepping for the baby. He stopped showing up to job sites once she moved in. I called a buddy at the building permit office and confirmed it. He was now under review. If someone filed a formal complaint, his license could be suspended. So I made sure someone did. Remember those fake foreclosure papers I left in the safe? Marisol had taken them seriously, so seriously, she told her cousin, who was a paralegal in Detroit. That cousin had been trying to track me down to confirm whether Darren actually owned the house. He didn't. I did. So I played dumb on a call, said I didn't know who she was talking about, then sent over actual documentation to show I was sole owner. Days later, Darren tried to list the lake house on Airbnb. He was that desperate for money. I reported the listing. Airbnb removed it within 24 hours. He didn't know it yet, but I was chipping away at every safety net he thought he had. About 2 weeks later, I was at the grocery store when I saw Marisol. She looked rough. Hair in a messy bun. Dark circles under her eyes. She was alone, no ring, no man, no baby yet. We locked eyes in the frozen food aisle. I expected her to look away. She didn't. She walked straight over to me. I need to talk, she said. We went to a nearby coffee shop. She sat across from me, hands wrapped around her tea, like it was the only warm thing in her life. Then she said something that made me grip my chair. He told me he vasectomized 5 years ago. I froze. What?
Yeah, she said.
He told me last week. He said he never reversed it. That I was probably already pregnant when we reconnected. That he didn't think the baby was his. I stared at her, speechless. She continued. He begged me to get a paternity test. But it's too late for that now. Turns out Darren never told her he'd had a vasectomy. Never planned to be a dad again. He was just using her to live out some fantasy of a second chance, something new, something that made him feel powerful. Now she was pregnant, alone, and facing the idea that the baby might not even be his. I didn't feel sorry for her. But I did realize something. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about what Darren did to people. How he moved through life, using women like stepping stones. He hadn't just betrayed me. He betrayed her too. After Marisol told me about the vasectomy, she left quickly, wouldn't meet my eye. I could tell she felt humiliated. And I didn't stop her. Let her carry that weight. 2 days later, she texted me. Short and cold. I'm filing for child support. He's gonna wish he never lied. Turns out she decided to put his name on the birth certificate anyway, even without paternity, just to make his life hell. Whether it held up or not, She wanted him to pay in court. That's when Darren started spiraling. He left me 3 voicemails in one day. The third one he was slurring his words. You did this to me. You turned her against me. You ruined everything. You were always good at that. I saved all the voicemails. Just in case. The business license suspension hit hard. By mid-August, most of his clients had walked. His bank accounts were drying up. He sold one of his trucks, his best one, to stay afloat. Then I got served with papers. He was trying to claim half the lake house. Said it was marital property. That's where he screwed up. I'd inherited it years before we married. The deed never changed. He never paid property taxes. And I had proof. Stacks of it. I handed it all to my lawyer. Then I made my move. One thing Darren forgot. The business? It was registered under my name. Years ago, when he had bad credit, I co-signed the paperwork to get it off the ground. He paid the taxes, ran the jobs, but legally it was mine. So I shut it down. Filed a formal dissolution. It was over in a day. All his work, his years of effort, dissolved in one cold morning email. He didn't know until his supplier tried to call and told him the account was inactive. Just when I thought things couldn't unravel further, I got an email from a woman named Sierra. She attached a photo of Darren, same flannel shirt, same beard, sitting on her couch, from 6 months ago. The caption, "This your husband?" Apparently, Darren had been seeing her while living with Marisol. Another woman. Another secret. And she was pregnant too. Due in November. Darren thought he could keep secrets buried. But everything is bubbling to the surface now. 3 women. 2 babies. No house. No business. No more control. And he still has no idea what's coming next. Once I learned about Sierra, everything fell into place. Darren wasn't just a cheater or a liar. He was a manipulator with a pattern. Marisol wasn't the first. I wasn't the first. And Sierra wouldn't be the last, if I let him walk away untouched. But now he was broke, angry, and losing control. That made him dangerous. So I had to move fast. I found Sierra on Facebook. She had a dog grooming business in Petoskey. I messaged her privately. You need to know who he really is. I told her everything about me, the lake house, Marisol, the vasectomy. I showed her proof. Emails, photos, legal records. At first, she didn't believe it. Then she called me. Just cried on the phone. She said Darren told her I was a bitter ex trying to ruin his life, and Marisol was a stalker with his baby. He played us all. When I hung up, I knew she'd make her own move. Marisol filed for child support. Sierra filed a restraining order after Darren showed up to her shop screaming. Tara, the former client, filed a small claims case against him, and others followed once I shared his pattern of skipping out on work. And me? I filed for divorce again, this time requesting full control of all marital assets. He fought back hard, but he had no leverage left. No house. No job. No working vehicle. The judge sided with me. I got everything.
I saw him one last time.
In court. He looked nothing like the man I married. He looked tired.
Smaller.
Almost empty. He didn't even make eye contact with me. Just sat there, arms crossed, as the judge read out loud. Property awarded to Claire. Business dissolved. All claims denied. When the judge banged the gavel, Darren finally looked up and whispered, loud enough for only me to hear, "You destroyed me." I leaned in and said, "No, you did that all by yourself." Then I walked out. Marisol gave birth in September. The baby was not Darren's. She moved in with her sister in Chicago, far from him. Sierra had her son in November. Darren never showed.
She said it was better that way.
Her family stepped up. Darren ended up living with his older brother. Word is he's working at a tire shop now. His license is still suspended. His name's trashed in every contractor circle in town. People cross the street when they see him. Not out of fear, but out of disgust. He's invisible now. That's his prison. And me? I took time off work. Started hiking again. Traveled a little.
Saw the Badlands.
Wrote about what happened in a private blog that got picked up by a local women's support group. Turns out I wasn't alone. I started helping women spot patterns like Darren's. I spoke at a couple workshops. It gave me purpose. Then, slowly, I forgave myself. For staying too long. For believing too hard. But not for walking away. That was the best thing I ever did. Because in the end, the best revenge wasn't just watching Darren fall apart. It was watching myself get back up. And never needing him to stand tall. Ever again.